catch up with a business analyst, a key role in RPA life cycle. Often we tend to ignore this role, but honestly, for me, this is a crucial role in the entire life cycle. And we're going to hear from an expert on how would you manage a complex process, how would change management look for him, what would he do to measure and demonstrate ROI, how would he bridge gaps between business and technology, and finally, what's change management according to him. Abhishek, very good evening, and it's a pleasure to have you on my podcast. Been a long waiting. Finally, I've got hold of you. So, for the audience, Abhishek is a principal consultant with Technosource and has been implementing projects in regards to process automation. He's been the delivery manager in his current company and has been managing projects with end-to-end delivery as well as client servicing. He loves to connect with C-suite, have interactions which talk about technologies. At the same time, Abhishek has got hands-on experience on automation anywhere and UiPath. With these roles, he also does advisory for various clients with regards to process automation and its implementation. Today, we're going to talk about business analyst, a topic which is very close to his heart because he has got multiple experiences with various clients in this particular role, which was played in the past. And now that he has progressed to a delivery manager, I'm confident we would get more inputs from this particular podcast. So, Abhishek, I hope you're doing well and everything is good at your end. Anything that you
Yes,
want to speak up before we start
first of all,
the crossfire round?
thank you so much for having me here. It's my pleasure. Uh, so it's even I had been waiting for a long time to get this happen. I know because of our busy schedules, it was a bit difficult for both of us to make this happen. But yeah, we are over here now, and thank you for the that warm introduction as well.
Perfect. So let's quickly start. So Abhishek, as a business analyst, the key essence of this role is to be a gap, like a bridge, and reduce that gap between business as well as the automation guys, so that you go ahead and understand the entire process from the business perspective and convert it into an understandable process design or via your techniques so that the automation developers could understand the process on keystroke level. Now, whilst to do so, let's not look at some simple processes, okay? The question is, if you get a complex process from business which is feasible for automation, okay, but has too many nuances into it, how would you, as a business analyst, understand the complex process and, put it back to the automation team in such a way that they find it very easy to understand?
Sure, Shripad. So I'll tell you how I started with this thing. Like when I started my journey into RPA, I started as an RPA business analyst only. So initially, even for me, it was a technically challenging because as RPA was completely new for me, and the things happening in this technology were new for everyone at that point of time. So how I would understand the things and how I would communicate it to the solution architect or a developer to automate the processes. So I used to follow very basic things, like most important was creating a communication, a good rapport. I'd say a good rapport with the stakeholders so that we get a crystal clear understanding of the process which is to be automated. and then you need to be a problem solver. So what happens is when a SME or a stakeholder is giving the explanation of the process. So he has been working on the process for many years now. So you can't expect him to go at a minute level and explain you each and everything. So it's as a business analyst, it's our responsibility to get the smallest minute details from him. So for that, first of all, you need to first sit with the SME and understand the complete process. Then, at first time, you won't be able to understand the process by looking at what's going on, and then you need to note down points like how the flow is going on. Then afterwards, then you need to sit by yourself and do the complete flow end to end. So this is the key which I used to follow by myself. Until and unless you don't do it hands on, you won't be able to understand the complete process, and further you won't be able to communicate it. Then at the same time, when you do and complete hands-on of the complete process from end to end, it helps for the documentation as well, because the documentation plays a very key role in in complete automation journey. Because if some points are missed, even if the smallest of the point is missed, at that time it could happen that why was this not noted, and it could become a very crucial role in the automation. Apart from that, you need to break down the process as into a smaller steps. So by doing that, what you will be doing is you will making the process simpler for yourself as well. When the process gets break down, that time you will be able to understand, like, yes, in this application what are the steps, what are the things which you are doing. Then understand the overall goal of the process. What exactly is the process trying to achieve? Correct. And then talk to people, different people. Once you have taken the understanding from the SME, then talk to other people. There could be like small shortcuts which they would be using in doing the process. Then apart from that, you can use process mapping and data analysis to visualize the process and identify patterns and trends, which currently various process mining tools are helping us in doing that. So these were the small things which I used to do initially.
Okay. So if I understand it correctly, if it's a complex process, you should not be scared of, but look at fragmenting it. Take
Right.
one chunk at a time. Once you get the process flows in place, then stitch it at the end. But when you are looking at the process flows which are fragmented, also connect with various other team members of that particular business, not just the SME. And that will only happen when you have a good rapport.
Right.
And once you get in touch, maybe you could get more out of them. It's like you're mining as a human rather than a machine mining at the back end, which gets you a beautiful process map. You have various tools like Celonis, UiPath process mining, as well as
Very
process
rightly
mining
said.
tools with
And
Automation Anywhere also. Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
as
You
a
were
business
adding
analyst,
something.
yeah, as a business analyst, it's very important for you need to be a little bit of extrovert. If you are introvert thing, then it would be a little bit challenging for you. But uh, tell you to tell you about myself, I was a bit introvert kind of a person, but this role helped me become a extrovert kind of a person. Because by when I was working as a business analyst, I used to get in touch with several SMEs in different who belong to different domains. So every person was different. So you need to handle each and every personality differently. So this is also fun in itself. Like you need to you get to meet different kind of people, different kind of persons, and from different domains. Like one is from HR, finance, then accounts, and you need to sit with them, understand the complete process in that. you share thoughts, then they have very high expectations, then you need to understand what exactly they are looking by when you say you are going to automate the process, and what are the pain points. So these are the all things which you will be enjoying in this complete journey.
Fantastic. So you you have given a mantra that as a business analyst, please stop being an introvert, but be an
Right.
extrovert. Fantastic. Now, moving on to the next one, which I think you have already answered, but I need more. Uh, how would you bridge the gap between business and technology if if you are playing a role of a business analyst? I think you were speaking that earlier, and I was worrying inside. I think you have already answered, but I think still, maybe you could brief it better. That if you are a business analyst, how would you hold these two together so that you could get more out of the process and build an effective process analyst? How would you do that, man?
So it's basically that SME would be you can treat SME as a normal layperson who understand normal conversations, and the developer is completely technical person. So you would be the person in between both of them who would be taking the inputs from the SME, and giving the output to the developer, telling him how this is going to work and what he needs to do. So for that, the most important thing becomes is you need to first become a good listener. So when you are talking to the stakeholders, both the side, in this case, I will say the business side and the technical side as well. So you need to understand each of them. Then first of all, take the correct understanding of the process. And when I say correct understanding, you need to know the process thoroughly, inside out, what the process is going to be, which process is going to be automated. So for that, you need to have complete hands-on of the process. Until unless you don't have the hands-on, you won't be able to know the process inside out. Then once you know the process inside out, then only you will be able to translate between business and the technical language. Because be able to understand and translate between language of business and technology language is a technology which you are currently doing. Like stakeholder expects you to automate this complete process and make his life easy. But until and unless you are not able to communicate the same thing to the developer, how he is going to automate? So you need to make the developer understand in his own language.
Absolutely.
You need to be
So,
a bit street smart as well, and you need to be like RPA champion. So for by when I say an RPA champion, what I mean is you need to know the tool as well, because both every tool, be it Automation Anywhere, UiPath or Blue Prism, works in a certain way. So you need to know a bit of every platform so that you are able to explain the developer.
hmm. So to take a summary out of it, if you want to bridge the gap between business and technology, and if you want to be at the business side, you need to be very much inclined to the process. You need to know the process in and out. Post their understanding is provided. Stand in their shoes and understand how would the process look like and what it would deliver. But when you go back to technology, that is at the automation side, you need to have a good understanding of the platform so that when you're communicating to your team, you use those terms, you use those technology words so that they are also well versed and acquaint themselves with the process so that a brief understanding could be achieved by them. And in the end, I think you would need to share the exact goal that is required to be achieved
Right.
with regards to automation. And as a business, what do you expect when the process is automated? So those goal alignments are very important, is what you're trying to hint on in order to
Correct.
bridge the gap, right? I hope I'm hitting the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yes. Because at the end, when the process is automated completely, you would be the first person who will be testing the complete
Yeah.
process. So at that time, what expected end result is, if you are not able to achieve that, you won't be able to achieve it until and unless you have communicated the same thing to a developer.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely right. And I think business analyst is a pivotal role uh, for the success of automation.
Yes,
Now,
yes, very
coming
well.
to that pivotal role, my next question is going to be another bummer. What do you think are the key points that one as a business analyst should remember to manage the scope of automation as well as the expectations from automation?
So
Quite a tricky one.
yes, yes, and actually a very good question as well, because this thing, the scope and setting expectations in every RPA project, this is a very tricky thing, because even if you define a scope and define expectations what are there, still there are few points which are missed by both of the parties. But still, as a business analyst, it's your role to define it as precise as possible. So for this, what I used to do is I used to define the scope of the project clearly. Like whenever I used to take the understanding of the process, I used to take it in writing and I used to get it signed off. So this is the project, right? This is the scope, right? So these are the goals which are to be achieved, and these are the deliverables of the project. So by doing this, what I used to simply do is, like, for both the parties, it life becomes little bit easy, because then in the later part nobody can say that this was not said, this was also said. And there are things which tend to happen in every project, like many people say many things, but it's your responsibility to know and understand what has been said and what is to be delivered, right? Then you need to, once you have defined the scope, you need to get them agreed on the scope from all the stakeholders, and you need to communicate the same thing to all the stakeholders and get that signed off. You need to be at the same time, you need to be a little bit flexible as well. You can't be stubborn, like, no, this was done, so this can't be uh, changed or something like that. So at that time you need to manage expectations throughout the project. As a business analyst, it's very important for you to manage those things as well. So these things actually, this is also part of an change management thing. So wherein last moment many things come up, then at that time, uh, as a analyst, your life becomes a bit difficult. You are in a very awkward situation, like what to do. Like if the client is saying something, he needs to change something, he needs to add something which is out of the scope or something, then what would you do? So you need to manage expectations throughout the project, and you need to um, set realistic expectations at that time. You need to discuss the things with the solution architect, project manager, so that something can be figured out. And you always I'll uh, like to add this point, that you need to very transparent and honest with the stakeholders about the project's progress. Until and unless it's not, you are not transparent, it can create problems to you.
Okay.
And apart from that,
So,
I would like to add a few mistakes which you should not be doing. Like,
mhm.
not like I said, you need to create some agreement between the stakeholders, and
Yeah.
you should be communicating, and you need to be flexible.
So I like the point that you made. The moment the scope is given, you agree on the terms and understand the scope, define what is out of scope, and get it signed off. That's the primary thing that you need to do, because you can't have a moving goalpost, and that becomes difficult to deliver. And I think every business understands RPA now and the development. You would hardly find people who are rigid for a deliverable. But yes, if you get a customer who is really rigid, a signed off scope, a signed off
Yes.
expectations is the need of the hour. But yes, if you have a wonderful customer who is ready to go an extra mile for you, then as a business analyst, you still need to sign it off. You still need to have the expectations set. But yes, you have a room to play, is because if the customer is ready to go an extra mile, you as a business analyst would be ready to add more value because you represent the automation team. That's, I think that's how you wanted to put it across. But
And once
yes, yeah.
when you put an habit of getting signed off and uh, creating documents, so it's good for you as well, because
Yeah.
documents are a very crucial part of any RPA journey. So everything is documented, then the project flows very smoothly.
Yeah, and hence the next question is quite critical. When you have so much of changes happening, okay, how do you manage change management? Now, my change management as a question is across. I don't want to keep it just for development or stakeholder management. How do you manage change management across the life cycle of automation? Because you are there across as a RPA
Yes,
business analyst. You just cannot be at the process gathering, right? So, on to you. How do you do it?
like you said, a business analyst is across, right from taking the requirements till the project is live in the hypercare phase. So in this whole journey, the most important thing is you need to be very positive. Most important thing, because until and unless you are positive and you yourself believe that yes, this process is going to go live in the expected way, then only it's going to happen. Like what I used to do is, whenever I was working in, for any project or any process, so I would used to consider every project as my baby. So we need to understand each and every thing, what the process expects from us, how it is to be treated. So for that you need to be a good listener. You need to listen to the concerns of the stakeholders and address them as best as you can. Then you need to be very patient. So there are few changes which can be very difficult. So you need to be patient with the stakeholders as they adjust to the new RPA solution. Now, this is a change for them, right? Even for the stakeholders who are working on these processes for years, like they would be thinking that once this is implemented, the basic thing which comes to their mind is now their job would be gone. So you need to make them understand that job won't be gone. Their life would be getting more easy, and they would be doing much more better things which they are capable of doing, apart from working on the same monotonous process for years, right? Apart from that, you need to be flexible, just like I mentioned while you are talking about expectations and scope definition. So you need to be flexible, like whatever changes any stakeholder gets, you need to analyze the change, what kind of a change it is, whether it is a minor change, major change, what impact it's going to be on the process. So for that you can do your impact analysis as well. Then if it's a minor change, then you need to see how minor it is, if it can be a very basic thing, or if the change is going to be a very major change, like if it's going to impact your end result, then you need to sit down with your solution architect and get it sorted out. So these are the few basic things which you need to do.
Okay. So, so you're considering the change could happen with the stakeholders, the change could happen internal with the development also, as well as post facto. Uh, any challenges that you face during change management,
So
or is it a smooth sail?
no, no, no. This is a very challenging part in every project, because all these things starts with if your scope is not defined, or your like we discussed earlier, when we said that scope and expectations were not defined, mostly that part comes into picture and creates a problem or issue in the process. And once your scope is defined and expectations are set, then there won't be many problems coming in. So once you have this scope and expectation set, then there won't be much problem. And if at all if any change comes, you need to understand what kind of a change it is. So there could be times when SME or the stakeholder who was giving the walkthrough of the process would come up at the end moment and say, "Oh, I missed this part," or I it just slipped out of me. So so to avoid all these things, that's why what I used to do is I used to follow that and doing hands-on of the complete process by myself. So by doing hands-on of the process, in that only many such things get avoided. So when you are performing the complete process end to end, it's a big time consuming, I'll say, but it's it becomes very easy in the later part. So you major most of the challenges which would be coming in the later part are eliminated. And even at the same time, when you doing a hands-on of the complete process and you have the complete thorough knowledge of the process, even at any point of time, if a developer is facing any problem in the process, he'll contact you, and that time you won't be going back to SME. You can't disturb him always, because he'll say, I have already given you the complete understanding of the process. Now why are you coming back? There are some SMEs who will entertain you, but there could be some SMEs who won't take your request. So for you need to be ready for such situations. For that, I feel that having a complete hands-on of the end-to-end process is very important.
Okay. I think quite a tough one, but sounds good. I think you covering a lot of aspects which really would help the business analyst who are listening to this podcast on how to manage change management. Uh, whilst you covered the change management, this is a quite a touchy aspect that I'm going to ask you, and I don't know if how would you play that role? How would you influence compliance and security?
Uh, the only thing in the complete RPA project, uh, which I am really scared of, is a compliance team. Even you would know why I'm saying this. So first of all, understanding the organization compliance requirements is very important. So this includes understanding the regulations that the organization is, as well as our organization's own policies and procedures, because uh, this compliance and security things, every organization follows differently. So you need to understand each and everybody's concern. So you need to identify the risk to the compliance and the security team. You need to evaluate the effectiveness of the organization's controls. This includes accessing the effectiveness of organization's procedures, technical controls, and how you can mitigate the risk to this. So I would recommend including yeah, the solution architect, who can recommend some improvements wherever required, and then you can always monitor the effectiveness of this control.
What is the key role of a business analyst in demonstrating and measuring ROI? What do you think?
So so what I'll main so this complete digitization is going on. Basically boils to one simple thing: how much is the saving, right? What is the cost savings? So how I look at it is the amount of money saved by automating tasks. This can be calculated by comparing the cost of manual labor to the cost of running the RPA bots. So apart from that, how much is the productivity increase by when I say increase productivity, so at that time you need to see the amount of time being saved by the tasks which are automated, right? Then how what was the cost of implementing the RPA? In this, the cost would be the purchasing and deployment of the RPA platform,
Hmm.
then training and support, all these things are included. Then final would be time to implement the RPA. How much time did it take?
Okay. Perfect. So, the ready controls that are available to you from the process SME is going to be a base to calculate the ROI for that particular process. And also, you would look at the overall RPA infrastructure, the development cost, the license cost, and add up everything to measure the ROI. So you would look at the softer aspects as well as the harder aspects,
Right,
which would be dollar driven, and the softer ones would be like what's the productivity increase, what
right,
value has it given back to employees. So this is how you would look at measuring the ROI. But
right.
yes, every department would have different ways to measure ROI. So spot on. We're hearing a lot about Gen AI, artificial
Yeah,
intelligence. As a business analyst, how would you how would you embrace these technologies, and or what are the two things that you would do to make sure that you're also in the race and you also know these concepts?
I have been very lucky enough that I have AIML folks in my team who who keeps me grounded. Like each and every day, whatever they learn or get to know. So we have a session every twice in a week where we get together and whatever the new thing which they have been learning or I have been exploring, we share our thoughts. So by doing this, what I noticed is I am able to understand what are the new things which are coming up. Like when you spoke about the Gen AI, so I got to know about this thing, and I myself did the certification from Google. But I got to know this from this AI IML folks only, and then AIML and RPA are going to be the technology which would be going hand in hand. So it's very important for RPA folks to have a good understanding of how this exactly works, how this technology is going to work. And apart from that, yeah, there are certifications which you can do from all these platforms like UiPath, Automation Anywhere, where they are also updating their certifications. So you need to just keep on upgrading yourself by doing those things. And
Perfect.
then
So
you need to stay updated with the community. Even those people help you.
perfect. So as a business analyst, be very close to the community of the product that you're working with. Be appraised on various technologies that have been deployed. I think every week there is one technology coming out.
Yes.
Be surrounded with individuals who are working on the next gen technologies, and I think knowledge spreads like a virus. If you are with the best, you will always deliver the best.
True.
Coming to the final question, and I know you just have 1 or 2 minutes. Can you run an RPA practice without business analyst?
No.
Is the answer yes or no?
No.
No.
I know I
Okay.
have seen myself many projects where the the business team thinks that they if they'll have only one developer, they can run the complete automation journey by themselves. But after some time, even they realize that no, they have done a big mistake by not having a business analyst and a complete team. So each and every role plays a very important role in complete automation journey. Like I'm not saying only business analyst is important. Yeah, business analyst role is very crucial. Along with the business analyst, you need a developer, solution architect, a tester, for that matter. Because currently, tester also plays a very important role,
Hmm.
right? And so in today's various organizations, what they expect is business analyst is the person who will be doing the documentation, gathering the requirement and testing as well. So it becomes a little bit tricky for the business analyst as well.
Perfect. But my honest opinion, you shouldn't run an RPA practice without a business analyst.
Yeah,
Uh, and have a business analyst who is well aware of that particular domain. So if you're
right.
doing an RPA in finance, you need to have a business analyst who has financial knowledge. If you're doing it in for supply, hire a business analyst who has know-how of supply, and that's how it is. So
Yes,
for me, he's the king in RP, and need to manage this role effectively. I think we had a good chat. There are a lot of inputs which are valuable. I think the viewers would really enjoy this podcast, and I'm blessed to have a conversation with you. Thank you so
same
much
here,
for the
Stephen.
time, and you have a good
Even
evening.
I
Yeah.
was hoping that, even I hope this, whatever we spoke about, the complete journey, is helpful for the folks who are in the current role. It was
I'm
really nice
sure I'm
talking to
sure
you.
the viewers would, and I think you have poured your heart with all the knowledge that you have. Uh,
Yes,
let's hope for the best, and let's wait for another catch up. Thank you so
sure.
much till then. Have a
Thank you,
good evening
Sripat.
again.
Thank you for
Cheers.
having me here.